This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Over the next 40 years, the United States population is going to grow by over 90 million people, and almost all that growth is going to be in cities. What's the healthiest and best way for them to grow so that they really become cauldrons of prosperity and cities of opportunity? What we have found is that if that family is moved into safe, green, affordable housing, places that have access to great school systems, access to jobs, and multiple transportation modes, then the neighborhood begins to thrive and really take off. The oxygen of community redevelopment is financing. And all this rebuilding that happened could not have happened without organizations like Citi.
One of the things that we really try to do is to collaborate with people like Jonathan Rose, who are really like-minded and really can also provide innovative solutions to social issues.
And Citi has formed a partnership with our company so that we can take all the lessons from the revitalization of urban America to other cities. So we're now working in Chicago and in Washington, D.C., and Newark.
It's branching off of Jonathan's expertise and the fact that he has done so many wonderful affordable housing projects, new development and rehabilitation work. And so we were really seeing that there was a need for his skill in areas even outside of New York.
It's amazing how important safe, affordable housing is to the future of our society.
You meet new people, they want to know what you do. And when you tell them your job is to invest in things like low-income housing and schools and healthcare, they're shocked and they're so surprised that a job like this exists in finance. They always say that they had no idea, and then they want to know how they can get a job like that.
It's not about how many miles you can get out of the C-Max Hybrid. It's about how much life you can fit into it. The Ford C-Max Hybrid, with an EPA estimated range of 540 miles on a tank of gas, and all the room you need to enjoy the trip. Go stretch out. Go further.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here. We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Dumb and Dumber 2 is the #1 movie in America.
Am I right? What?
Seriously, it's #1.
These guys are morons! I like her a lot.
Dumb and Dumber 2, rated PG-13, now playing.
Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
place your hand on his Bible when you swear to tell the truth. His name is on our greatest monuments, all our money too. When we pledge allegiance, there's no doubt where we stand. There's no separation, we're one nation under him. In God we still trust. Here in America, he's the one we turn to. Every time the going gets rough, he is the source of all our strength, the one who watches over us. Here in America, in God we still trust. Who wanna push him out and erase his name from everything this country's all about? From the schoolhouse to the courthouse, they're silencing his word. Now it's time for all believers to make our voices heard. In God we still trust. Here in America, he's the one we turn to. Every time the going gets rough, he is the source of all our strength, the one who watches over us. Here in America, in God we still trust. Here in America, here in America, here in America, in God we still trust. Here in America, in God we still trust. Here in America.
We are living in times where there is an assault on sanity. Political correctness has run amok and logic has been left by the wayside. Do you constantly ask yourself, WTF is going on in this nation? Do you sometimes feel like a stranger in your own country? Well, fear not. You are not alone. This is the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Show, coming to you from deep inside flyover country with your hosts, V. Wright and Jose Estevez.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to WTF. It's Monday, and I'm V. Wright.
And I'm Jose Estevez, soon-to-be documented Mexican-American co-host. And, folks, I am happier than Al Sharpton, who seemed to get a promotion to the biggest race pimp in the entire United States. He's in the White House more than Obama is, I do believe. Anyway, we are coming at you live, unrehearsed, unscripted, and unpolitically correct. Welcome to the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Show.
Well, senor, how are you?
Well, I'm doing wonderful. I'm happy as can be. We just had a long weekend. We had a great show on Thanksgiving. For those of us that joined us, we want to say thank you. It was actually a lot more than we anticipated, and we're grateful for that because we were having a good time. We had some great stories and just a nice low-key show. But we're going to crank it back up again. It's a new week, and we got to crank this thing back up, V.
Yeah, why don't we talk about...
let me guess.
The chief resident's daughters.
Oh, we're going right after it, folks. We're going right after it. And if you don't know what we're talking about a communications director for Representative Stephen Lee Fincher, Republican from Tennessee. And to say she came under fire over the weekend for posting derogatory remarks about Sasha and Malia Obama. Wow. Here's what she said, folks. Dear Sasha and Malia, I get you're both in those awful teen years, but you're a part of the first family. Try showing a little class. Rise to the occasion. Act like being in the White House matters to you. Dress like you deserve respect, not a spot at the bar. Well, because of those words of truth, she had to resign today. And what had happened was Obama, the national turkey, was pardoning the national Thanksgiving turkey, and his daughters were there. And yes, their style of dress was definitely nothing my daughter would wear at that age. But it was more their physical, how they reacted, arms crossed, just totally disinterested in being there, rolling their heads. It was just pitiful. It's like, come on. And of course, knowing you're going to be on national TV with your dad, wouldn't the dad or the mom make them dress a little bit nicer and a little bit more respectable? That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Well, that that reporter that said that caught all kinds of heat.
Yes.
The Republican National Committee went after the media for going after her. And let's face it, she said it on her Facebook page.
Uh-huh.
I mean, seriously,
Yeah, that's
it's
true. It was on her personal
Facebook.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's not like she put it on the front page of the New York Post, not like they would carry it anyway, but let's face it, everybody's giving her a hard time about that, but nobody was saying, I mean, of course we were, but there's not a Democrat out there that was saying anything about, just a few weeks ago, about Bristol Palin getting assaulted and both verbally and physically assaulted. In fact, one of the hosts on CNN laughed about it.
Yes, they sure did. Oh, yeah, you talk about a double standard. And I know what people are going to say. Well, it's not comparing apples to apples because the Palins, they're not elected. They're not president. She's not president of the United States. Well, she ran for vice president of the United States, and she's definitely still up there in the public arena, for sure. But boy, I'll tell you what, her kids have been picked on, and she's been picked on like crazy. There's no double standard there, though.
Well,
right?
let's compare apples to apples. What about the Bush twins?
There you go. Oh yeah.
I mean, I remember all the things that were said about them. I mean, those girls party all the time. They act like little hookers. I mean, hey, the left didn't mind tossing that out there.
Right.
But, if you want to, get up there and wear clothes that came from Tramps or Us and smack your lips and roll your eyes, oh, well, that's what you're going to get.
I have to admit, I don't ever recall the Bush daughters dressing like hoochie mamas and pouting while standing in public events with their parents. Never once did I see that. Always dressed very classy, and sure, they probably didn't want to be there. I mean, I get that. I get that aspect of it. Jimmy Carter's daughter, all of these kids, I do get that.
I mean, even that ugly Chelsea had decency and clothing.
Oh, Lord, ugly Chelsea. Well, come on, she looks just like Webb Hubble. It makes sense. She looks just like her real dad, Webb. But seriously, and can I be serious after that? But I mean, the one had her arms crossed, and of course, that's the physical, the body language told me everything I needed to see. Their body language, like I said, throwing their heads, rolling their eyes and stuff, the arms crossed. I mean, they definitely, it was just a photo op. They did not want to be there. And like I said, who would let them go out there dressed like they were? I mean, I get it. Kids dress, somewhat like that nowadays. But, I mean, you're the president's daughter. President of the United States, for goodness sake.
Well, let's be honest. Have you looked at some of the crap Michelle has worn?
Well, I have actually. Well, there you go. It all makes sense.
I mean, seriously.
That's a good point. You just...
When you wear a dress that looks like you have male genitalia, there's a problem.
Oh, here we go. Yeah,
I'm just saying, baby, grab the duct tape next time.
I don't think she's known for her fashion sense, apparently, and you would think they would be, but no, that's whatever. What do I know? I'm just a guy.
Maybe they need to be hanging out with some of them. What is it? Real Housewives of Atlanta.
I'm just a racist. What do I know anyway? It's because of course we're saying this and doing this, folks, because we're racist. We hate black people. That's obviously what we're doing this for. I mean,
well, to be honest with you, wait a minute. To be honest with you, I can't say that because just about every black person I have ever met, even if they don't dress in fashion, honey, they can tell you all about it. And they got the Gucci bags and the Louis Vuittons and their style. Yeah, wait a minute,
they dress to the nines. Right.
So I don't, no, that ain't a racist thing because I've seen very few black people that could not. I mean, they got their weave on right and their hair extensions are in. Their nails are done,
Except in Ferguson because they burned all those places down, for goodness sake. Come on. They destroyed all of that stuff down there in downtown Ferguson.
Well, I just can't buy it. It's a black thing. I just don't think... I think when you're that low rent... I don't care how much Chanel you put on. I don't care if you sashay around an Anne Klein. And it really doesn't matter what you put on. When you are as low rent as the people that currently reside in the White House, there is no possible way that people can have an expectation that you would be fashion coordinated. I've never seen Michelle Obama, and I know that the Democrats oh, she dresses, she's the next Jackie O. No, let me tell you what.
Oh.
Jackie O walked all over it. Walked all over it. And I don't like Jackie because she was a Democrat, but the woman defined class and dignity when she went out.
Perfect. Class and dignity, because that is the position, as the president, as the daughters and the wife of the president. And I'm sorry if you don't like it, but don't go out then. At all times, you should exude class and dignity. I mean, this is people from, the entire world is looking to us, and indeed half the world is coming here. But wait a minute, V, are you talking about you can't put lipstick on a pig? I heard that somewhere one time.
I mean to tell you, just give her a garbage bag and she'll fit right in.
Well, wait a minute. Then there'll be like a bunch of Muslims walking around.
Well, if the shoe fits.
Hey, if we haven't offended you yet, folks, we're only about 10 minutes into the broadcast. Give us till the bottom of the hour. We will get to you shortly. Bear with us. We're working on it.
If the burqa fits.
If the burqa fits. Then wear that thing.
Sit. That's it. Just don't stand on my sidewalk on a Tuesday morning because they will pick you up and throw you in.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I hear you.
Oh, Lord, I am bound and determined to get in trouble today.
I think we're both. I mean, and once again, folks, we are unrehearsed, unscripted, and it just... I don't know, we're both in... You can just tell the first 10 minutes in, we're both in that mood, and anything's liable to happen or be said within the realms of decency, hopefully, and we'll try to keep it a rated show that, the whole family can listen to, such as it is.
Well, we do our best.
Speaking of what's in the news, Ferguson, I know, and we're kind of getting sick of it, but it's the gift that keeps on giving and won't stop. Listen to this, folks. Ferguson, and I didn't believe this. I had to look it up after I heard it on another show. I had to check for it. Protesters in Ferguson were chanting, quote, "The only solution is a communist revolution." Yes. Folks, that's for real. That's, once again, nothing made up. The only solution is a communist revolution. Well, you know what? I bet you cops in the commie countries would split their skulls like overripe watermelons with the butts of their rifles before these people could yell police brutality. Wow. Do they know what they're asking for? Do they have any idea how many millions and millions and millions of people have died under communism?
They don't know.
No, they don't.
They don't know. They have had individuals come to them and tell them that communism, they have been indoctrinated to believe that communism is the path to fairness.
Oh, my gosh, I know. They do. And the funny thing is, one of my friends said this, and I've got to just quote it because it's perfect. He said, funny if they got their wish and true communism took over finally in America, these would be some of the first ones carted off or shot in the back of the head. Commie governments don't just want obedience, but also compliance. And that is the truth. That is the truth. It's all about compliance and not just simply obedience. I thought that was very perceptive. I'm glad I have very bright friends that make me seem even brighter than I am. But it's true. Communists? That's what you want here is communism? Ask the people that come from Cuba. Ask the people that come from all the Soviet bloc countries. And I still refer to it as the Soviet Union. I don't care what happened in the 90s. That spark has always been there. That spark never went away. But you ask the people that were truly under communist rule what they think of communist rule. And how fair it is, and how well they were treated, and how great their everyday lives were.
Well, let's look at it this way. Every year, we get a couple of thousand folks that cross that channel between Cuba and the United States. Yeah. And what is their reason for going for making that journey? Now, mind you, that's the Gulf Stream. So you wander out into that. And if you don't have power behind you, you could end up well out into the Atlantic.
Certainly.
Okay. So we'll take that into consideration. And they get on these inner tubes and they try to get here. And what purpose? And what's the first? We're starving there. You cannot make enough money to make ends meet. There are no jobs. You know, it's under communist regime. You cannot stand in line all the time for bread. For bread, people.
For bread. Yeah.
But
and folks, that's only 90 miles off the coast of Florida, if I'm correct. And 90 miles by open water is a long, long ways compared to like driving 90 miles, that sort of thing. So when they undertake that journey, that arduous journey that they do, I mean, this is a serious thing. This is how bad it is that they're willing to do that. They don't just have to walk across the border like the Mexicans, all the people from South America that are coming up.
Or the Mideast.
Maybe cross a small body of water. 90 miles of open water in the ocean. I mean, wow, folks, it's just amazing. That's how bad it is and how bad some people really want freedom.
Well, they are ignorant to it. They truly are. They have no clue whatsoever when they espouse this. That's just like this is what democracy looks like, and I've heard them chant that over and over again. This is what democracy looks like. No, it's not, idiot, because we live in a republic, and that's the only reason you can get out there and do what you're doing. So this is what a republic looks like. But somebody, and even the chief resident in the White Mosque, you hear him quite frequently refer to us as a democracy, as getting things done in a democratic fashion for the sake of democracy. We are not a democracy, but that's what they do. They twist the words and they continue to use them until it infiltrates the culture and becomes an acceptable term. Then when it does, that's what, we're democracy. No, we're not.
I was going to say, don't you think a constitutional law professor would know better? Wink, wink.
Well, most definitely, but a well-versed Democrat who has been taught the Alinsky way of life and has been surrounded by communist supporters and Muslims his whole life would most definitely come from that standpoint. And I'm sure he sat in that constitutional law class that I think someone did report at one point that best he ever made was a C.
Well, we wouldn't know, V, because nothing has ever been released as far as what he took for classes, his GPA, class standing, nothing, as far as I'm aware, has ever been released. It's all. In fact, it's all. Not only that, it's all sealed. It's all sealed under order.
Well, yeah. I mean, who spends millions of dollars sealing that?
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest with you, folks. I wouldn't mind if he's a B or C student, or heck, he maybe got a couple D's, or lower grades. That would just prove to me he's human. But why the need to seal everything so that nobody can see it under an order, that no one is allowed to see that? So that instantly makes you think, what is there to hide? I mean, I can show you my grades from college and even high school, and there's lots of B's and C's in there. There's lots of A's as well. But I struggled. Math, science were two of my worst classes, and it is what it is. I still succeeded it. I hit the goals. But come on,
you would hate me.
What?
You would hate me.
Well, it's straight A's. Don't tell me, really. Oh boy, I can tell by that laugh. Yeah, all right, well. See, and I had the thick glasses and had the whole nerd persona going on, but I didn't have the good grades to go along with it.
My mom will tell you, Susie will tell you, it used to make everybody so mad because I would go to school and I would not pay attention. I'd go just long enough to get what I needed to get me through. Mm-hmm. And then I would go to work because I was wasting time at school.
That's kind of how I felt too in high school. Definitely, I wanted to work because I wanted a nice car, and liked my music and stuff. So it was more about that than I could have probably been straight A's if I had tried and applied myself, but I didn't, and that's what it is. But why does all of this stuff need to be hidden so we can't see it at all? Why is there need to hide everything?
There is no reason to hide it except for legitimacy as president, whether or not the only reason whatsoever that any of this would be sealed was because it calls into question his legitimacy as a citizen to be president of the United States. And that's the only reason that it is not released. It is the only reason that that they would not release it, because they don't care that he did cocaine. Right. They don't care that he smoked pot. Right. They don't care that he drank. They don't care that he ran with communist groups, because all of these things we know. They've made all this public.
Yes, this is all true.
Okay, they've made all of this public. Mm-hmm. That he was a nonconformist. I mean, and not in a good way. In a fake community organizer kind of way.
Yes, very well. Good point.
But
truly, what does a community organizer do? Well, I don't know. Let's ask Al Sharpton. He's making quite the career out of it. Maybe he'll be able to make some money and pay back that $4.5 million he owes the United States.
I don't think so.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on a second. Why is the double standard? I was watching a movie the other night with Wesley Snipes. Actually, a pretty good movie. Sci-fi action movie. But then I remembered. Didn't Wesley Snipes go to prison for unpaid taxes and he was left destitute because he had made some... I don't know exactly the reason behind it. Well, he's a black man. Well, what's the difference between him and Al Sharpton? Al Sharpton was $4.5 million. That isn't exactly chump change. But yet Al Sharpton, just today, was at the Hate Whitey hut. What is the difference here? What is going on here?
Well, I mean, they're laying the groundwork, and that's what, did anybody hear what Farrakhan said today?
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my God.
I wish we could play the clips of that. You folks, if you haven't heard it, you got to go find it. The Calypso Louie, Farrakhan, what else they call him? I don't know. I call him Calypso Louie, but he, oh boy,
Well, he went on a rant saying, he went on a very long religious rant about the need for an eye for an eye, a life for a life, and it basically inciting folks to go out and kill white people.
Yes, very much. And, of course, he always ends with his traditional Muslim, Assalamu alaikum. Well, I don't know, maybe that means kill all the infidels, but it probably means peace be with you or something like that, supposedly. But yeah,
also gonna lick them up. I don't know.
That was a heck of a tirade. I'm going to tell you what, that was a heck of a tirade, folks. Search it out and listen to it. I can't believe some of the things that come out. And of course, once again, seems to be a good friend of the regime, and runs in close circles with other people in the regime. And I'll tell you what, makes you wonder. Well, it doesn't make me wonder.
Well,
it's pretty obvious what's going on when you put all the pieces together. When you set that puzzle, lay all those pieces out and start to put it together, it starts to make sense.
Well, today, of course, the administration had the entire activist community on board, and wanting to make sure that they can get that nail in the coffin there. Make sure we get we're leading the black folks around the right way now.
Mm-hmm.
And let's be honest about what it is. That's exactly what it is. Lead the black folks around the right way. If they can keep the black community distracted, then they don't notice that 4 million people just stepped in front of them for a job.
Boom. Right there. Nailed it. Folks, we got to take a break. Call us when we get back. 313-462-0068. We're going to talk more about this. There's plenty of material there, obviously. 313-462-0068. You are listening to the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot radio show, and we will be right back.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Over the next 40 years, the United States population is going to grow by over 90 million people, and almost all that growth is going to be in cities. What's the healthiest and best way for them to grow so that they really become cauldrons of prosperity and cities of opportunity? What we have found is that if that family is moved into safe, green, affordable housing, places that have access to great school systems, access to jobs, and multiple transportation modes, then the neighborhood begins to thrive and really, really take off. The oxygen of community redevelopment is financing. And all this rebuilding that happened could not have happened without organizations like Citi.
One of the things that we really try to do is to collaborate with people like Jonathan Rose, who are really like-minded and really can also provide innovative solutions to social issues.
And Citi has formed a partnership with our company so that we can take all the lessons from the revitalization of urban America to other cities. So we're now working in Chicago and in Washington, D.C., and Newark.
It's branching off of Jonathan's expertise and the fact that he has done so many wonderful affordable housing projects, new development and rehabilitation work. And so we were really seeing that there was a need for his skill in areas even outside of New York.
It's amazing how important safe, affordable housing is to the future of our society.
You meet new people, they want to know what you do, and when you tell them your job is to invest in things like low-income housing and schools and healthcare, they're shocked and they're so surprised that a job like this exists in finance. They always say that they had no idea, and then they want to know how they can get a job like that.
It's not about how many miles you can get out of the C-Max Hybrid. It's about how much life you can fit into it. The Ford C-Max Hybrid, with an EPA estimated range of 540 miles on a tank of gas, and all the room you need to enjoy the trip. Go stretch out. Go further.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here. We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
Who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas.
Dumb and Dumber 2 is the #1 movie in America.
Am I right? What?
Seriously, it's #1.
These guys are morons! I like her a lot.
Dumb and Dumber 2, rated PG-13, now playing.
Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
If I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
We are living in times where there is an assault on sanity. Political correctness has run amok and logic has been left by the wayside. Do you constantly ask yourself, WTF is going on in this nation? Do you sometimes feel like a stranger in your own country? Well, fear not. You are not alone. This is the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Show, coming to you from deep inside flyover country with your hosts, V. Wright and Jose Estevez.
TF, I'm V. Wright.
And I am Jose Estevez. Welcome back, folks.
Well, we've been talking a lot about Ferguson. I really don't, I really hate talking about Ferguson, but it has morphed into this national problem here to try to protect some of these businesses from being burnt to the ground, to being vandalized, being torn apart. And 4 of the businesses that they chose to take under their wing were Natalie's Cakes and More, yes, a beauty supply store, a dentist office, and a Chinese restaurant. Well, Stuart Rhodes, who is the national founder and president of the Oath Keepers, says, we are military and police veterans who are volunteer security for local businesses. We have Iraq and Afghanistan combat vets on the rooftop, along with retired cops guarding the shops. Now, according to Rhodes, they had an alarming incident happen in which their team spotted what looked like Fed 3-man sniper teams moving into a nearby house on higher ground, and then, excuse me, and then pointing their rifles at them. Rhodes said the team even observed State Highway Patrol snipers deploy onto the roof of a nearby fire hall and point rifles at them. He says our team leader called Unified Command to find out what was going on, and the local police responded. Now, he did say that the local police were totally unaware of what the federal government were doing, that they were not coordinating. The local police are on their side and have expressed gratitude for their participation. Now, the local cops did tell the feds it was crazy to label them as terrorists, because that's what they're trying to do, when all they were doing was guarding against arsonists.
Right.
They just, they want them gone. The federal government wants them gone. Now, gentlemen, there said buildings to the north are burning every night. Buildings to the south are burning every night. And since we've been here, no one's thrown a Molotov cocktail through the window or caught the buildings on fire. Now, one would think that people would be appreciative of this. I mean, people are volunteering. They're spending their own time, their own money, their own resources to protect businesses. The insurance company should be clamoring for the federal government to stand down and allow these guys to go forward. But nope, the federal government wants this mess to continue. There is nothing that I have seen. And if there's something that I haven't seen, please point it out to me, because there is absolutely zero that I have seen that indicates this regime, the Department of Justice, or any federal law enforcement wants this mess to stop.
Right. And V, I think a good point needs to be made. The Oath Keepers are not vigilantes, bloodthirsty vigilantes, just much like the good people that are down at Camp Lone Star in Texas. They're not vigilantes. They're not out there to shoot people, and they, their guns. But I am a firm believer, and I know you are as well, that an armed society is a polite society. So when you've got, for example, and I don't know the exact story, but the 4 black gentlemen standing in front of the one business, all armed with AR-15s. Well, guess what? Nothing happened at that business. And to give people a little bit more background,
and nobody was shot in the streets.
And nobody, yeah, right. They're not shooting people in the street. They're not. This isn't vigilante justice, folks. So I know you're going to hear that from the left. These are just vigilantes, that love their guns and they have to be around their guns all the time. Now, forget it. Come on. But Oath Keepers, here we go. I want you guys to know a little bit more about Oath Keepers. Oath Keepers is a nonpartisan association of current and formerly serving military, reserves, National Guard, veterans, peace officers, and firefighters who will fulfill the oath we swore with the support of like-minded citizens who take an oath to stand with us, to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, so help us God. Our oath is to the Constitution. Our motto is not on our watch. And they have orders that they will not obey. Now listen to this, and it's going to take a second, but I think it's worthwhile. Oath Keepers have orders we will not obey. Number 1, we will not obey orders to disarm the American people. Number 2, we will not obey orders to conduct warrantless searches of the American people. Number 3, we will not obey orders to detain American citizens as unlawful enemy combatants or subject them to military tribunal. Number 4, we will not obey orders to impose martial law or a state of emergency on a state. Number 5, we will not obey orders to invade and subjugate any state that asserts its sovereignty. Number 6, we will not obey any order to blockade American cities, thus turning them into giant concentration camps. Number 7, we will not obey any order to force American citizens into any form of detention camps under any pretext. 3 more. Number 8, we will not obey orders to assist or support the use of any foreign troops on U.S. soil against the American people to keep the peace or to maintain control. Number 9, we will not obey any orders to confiscate the property of the American people, including food and other essential supplies. And finally, we will not obey any orders which infringe on the right of the people to free speech, to peaceably assemble, key there for Ferguson, and to petition their government for a redress of grievances. Notice these people are not there to stop the people from protesting or doing what they are. They are there to stop them from destroying private businesses that people have worked hard to build up, and that the thugs just come in and destroy in a couple minutes under the pretext that they're, what do they call it? Help me out with a word here, V. Just lost it completely. They are protesting, because we all know what a peaceful protest is, and what's going on in Ferguson is something totally different. So the Oath Keepers are not vigilantes. That's right from their website. And folks, I support them. Oathkeepers.org. They're on the internet, but they're not vigilantes. Just want to make sure we get that out there so people don't have the wrong impression.
Well, I'm a big supporter of the Oath Keepers as well. They've received a lot of criticism of late from our own side of the fence.
Sure.
But you have to look at the bigger, broader picture. And the fact of the matter is, we have Oath Keepers out there in Ferguson trying to keep the peace. And while they are attempting to keep the peace, they're having the federal government come in and point weapons at them, trying to run them off. I cannot imagine a scenario where these are people that I worked with. These are people that made the same vows and promises that I did, and that they would so easily turn their weapons against me, knowing I was doing nothing more than protecting an establishment.
A private business there to make profit.
Exactly. I mean, let's recall they were invited there by these business owners because they could not afford to be destroyed once again.
Yeah.
And the local police department has had its hands tied in one way or another since the very first day of this foolishness. And the citizens, and I hate to say the citizens because 2/3 of Ferguson do not agree with all of this.
Agreed.
It's a third of Ferguson. Now, that's 7,000 people. And a great deal of outside agitation that have created this scenario. And quite honestly, the Brown family, the stepfather and the mother.
Right.
They too have, contributed to the issues there. But to be an Oath Keeper and to be looking across knowing that not so long ago you were that guy across the street, I cannot imagine what goes on through your mind. Yeah, but let us remember too that, this same scenario panned out at Bundy Ranch as well.
It did.
And the feds found themselves in a situation with every sniper rifle that they had pegged on our guys, we had 3 on them.
They were vastly, vastly outnumbered.
And we need to remember, and our federal government needs to remember, that's how easy it is, buddy, because there are more of us than there are of you.
Well, and I was very heartened this year as every year, and actually the numbers were up again this year, and I do believe they are every year. On Black Friday, one of the biggest selling things in the United States again was guns. Background checks were so far behind it wasn't even funny, and they always had way more staff, and anticipate longer days. But gun sales on Black Friday once again were up, and I'll tell you what, folks, something better to give a person than a gun. As long as you give them proper training, and they know how to properly handle it as well. But what a better thing to give someone than a gun. They never lose value. And of course, you got to be careful that when they're sitting around, they don't just point themselves at someone and shoot themselves. That's a joke, of course.
Because they do that, they sprout legs and move on their own.
Oh yeah, they the action racks itself, and they pull their own triggers. Oh come on, but no, I'm heartened every year that I see gun sales are up on Black Friday. What a wonderful gift to give someone. Like I said, once again, as long as they have proper training on use of it, and they're able to legally own one. What a better thing to give. I'm heartened, and I keep going back to what did the Japanese emperor? I don't think it was the emperor. I think it was one of the generals or maybe one of the admirals said, if we ever attacked America, there would be a weapon behind every blade of grass. And just think about how many more there are since the 40s when they said that. Don't talk about being prescient.
I can tell you this as a parent of girls.
Mm-hmm.
The best gift I ever gave my daughter was a weapon and training.
There you go. Beats a rape whistle all the heck. It's a lot louder.
Yeah, and it's more effective than peeing down yourself. I'm just saying.
And you know what she's referring to, folks? Several years ago, that was the word. I think it was from people in the regime that if you have an attacker come upon you,
Joe
that if
Biden
you're a woman,
said that.
Okay, that's right. Joe, who has no brains, Biden, who maybe cocaine got to him too. We know his one son has an issue with it. But yeah, the Vice President of the United States said, if you ever are attacked, now this was his advice to women, folks. So if you're not familiar with this, this is once again, real thing. We don't make it up. He said, pee on yourself if you're ever attacked, because that'll drive them off. Well, I'll tell you what, a 9mm pointed at him.
Yeah, because all the blood that they get all over them from hurting you, that really is a big turnoff too.
I mean,
it's a very effective at getting them away from you. Seriously, these people have absolutely no freaking clue. But I'm going to tell you, I am of a sound belief that an armed society is a polite society, and
Amen.
I have a 4.5-year-old grandson that will tell you, when I grow up, I want to be a righteous man with a gun. Like Nana's.
more guns, less crime. A book by Lott. I can't remember his first name, but a book that came out, I think, in the early 2000s, right around that time frame. More guns, less crime, and boy, the liberals, their heads went turning around like Linda Blair in that horror movie, just flipping around and spitting pea soup all over the place. But it's true. More guns.
Well, I mean, the federal report that came out, last week before, clearly shows that gun sales are at an all-time high in this nation, and violent crime is down.
Now, in certain segments, and once again, since we're talking about Ferguson, let's call it what it is. Black on black crime is either where it was or it's up. I'm not sure exactly what, but so there's different segments, but overall the crime is down. So why aren't people decrying this black on black crime? Chicago, how many died in Chicago again over this long holiday weekend? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. I mean, really, but what are you hearing about that, folks? Where's the protests there? Where's all the people marching for the sanctity of black life there? Or where are they all at when it comes to the abortions? Where are they all at in front of the abortion clinics? Oh, gee.
Well, absolutely true. Well, I do have a good story. I do have a good story coming out of Ferguson.
Okay. What do you have?
Gentleman was on his way to work. And apparently some folks decided that Interstate 5 would be a good place to block during Wednesday morning rush hour. Wow. Thousands of people were late for work. Some got out of the cars to watch the protesters, while others simply waited for the police. But one man got angry, and he confronted them. He says, "I got to go to Ross right now, homie. If I don't get there, I'm going to get fired. I've got 6 effing kids to feed. I got to get this car off. Days goes on, homie. MFers get shot every effing day. Deal with it. But not like this." So, you have to understand, a protester came and stuck their bullhorn in his face. So he took it from them.
Good for him.
And started yelling, "I'm about to lose my effing job, and you guys are effing out here protesting?" Now, one woman wearing medical scrubs got out of her car and began yelling at the protesters as well. "Arrest them," she yelled. "We have doctors and nurses that have to save lives here." Wow. Now, police reportedly arrived about a half hour after the protest began and immediately cleared the highway, but no arrests were made. In a follow-up interview with 10 News, Mr. Landrum, who was the gentleman that took the bullhorn, who works 3 jobs, said he reached his breaking point when one of the protesters shoved a bullhorn in his face. And then he put this bullhorn in my face, and I'm like, "Get this bullhorn out of my face." At that point, I was confused, frustrated, and completely angry. I'm nobody special, just doing what I thought was right. However, the rest of us think that he was doing what should have been done. And in all honesty, to anywhere else in this country at any other time besides this current time in history with this current regime, if you carried anyone out in the streets and blocked the traffic, you become a hazard. And if you fail to vacate when asked to, you are charged. You are arrested. And if there is an accident that someone gets hurt in because you block traffic, you are culpable.
Mm-hmm.
But that's any other time except the current time in history under the current regime. Blows my mind the amount of lawlessness that is running rampant. And to give you Ferguson has its own defense fund on GoFundMe. And it clearly says they need money for jail, bail, and life. They started this on October the 19th. It's the Ferguson Defend Fund campaign. It was set up on crowdfunding website Indiegogo. The fund's page indicates. Since October 19th, they have, including this past weekend, collected $95,000 to fund this. Now, their goal is $250,000.
Wow.
But that's what it's for. They are and it clearly says seeking money for jail, bail, and life.
And how long has that been going on, V? What did you say? What was the date
Since
on that?
October the 19th.
Okay, well, I'm somewhat encouraged then, because remember the lady who had the storefront window smashed out? She was the baker.
Miss DeBose.
Yes, we talked about her, and she was on a couple of those funding sites too. I'm very encouraged by what you just said, because I believe she raised more than double the amount they've raised in a much shorter time to rebuild her thing. And I think I'll have to check it out, but I thought last I saw it was north of 200,000.
It was. I know that it was well over 100,000.
Right.
In 3 days.
So I'm very encouraged by that. That the scumbags, they're raising some money, but not near as much as a deserving woman like that who had wanted nothing to do with it, and yet one of the people there trying to contribute to society, trying to make a go of it, single mom with 2 kids, and they destroy her storefront and some of her equipment. And she's just trying to make a living and live the American dream. So God bless her. I'm glad that, wow, that was just amazing. That money came from all over. And gee, I'll bet you some white racists sent money too, don't you think? I mean, I'm going to guess that some white racists were involved in that.
Well, of course they were. But I'm going to tell you what, this woman is just incredible. She's so gracious and just full of appreciation for everything that has been done for her by so many.
Yes.
All right, guys, we've got to go to break.
Yeah, we do. It's 8:00. We will be back shortly. Bear with us. And I think we've got our technical difficulties figured out. And we'll see you folks soon. Stay with us.
This is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
How are things with the new guy?
All we do is go out to dinner.
That's it?
I mean, he picks up the tab every time, which is great.
Why? He's using you. He probably has a city thank you card and he gets 2 times the points at restaurants.
So he's just racking up points with me.
Some people.
Ugh.
No, I got it.
The City Thank You Preferred Card. Now earn 2 times the points on dining out and entertainment with no annual fee. To apply, go to city.com/thankyoucards.
It's not about how many miles you can get out of the C-Max Hybrid. It's about how much life you can fit into it. The Ford C-Max Hybrid, with an EPA estimated range of 540 miles on a tank of gas, and all the room you need to enjoy the trip. Go stretch out. Go further.
Come on, Harry! Dumb and Dumber 2 is the #1 movie in America.
Am I right? What?
Seriously, it's #1.
These guys are morons! I like her a lot.
Dumb and Dumber 2, rated PG-13. Now playing.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here. We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
Who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
Slipping away, and if you ain't gonna fight, get out of the way. 'Cause freedom makes so free when you breathe red and white and blue. I'm giving all of myself, 'cause that's what I do. And they call me warrior. Behind, I will never accept defeat. I'm a soldier in war, civilian in peace. 'Cause freedom makes so free when you breathe red and white and blue. I'm giving all of myself. How about you? And they call me warrior. Call me loyalty.
living in times where there is an assault on sanity. Political correctness has run amok and logic has been left by the wayside. Do you constantly ask yourself, WTF is going on in this nation? Do you sometimes feel like a stranger in your own country? Well, fear not. You are not alone. This is the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Show, coming to you from deep inside flyover country with your hosts, V. Wright and Jose Estevez.
WTF, I'm V. Wright.
And I am Jose Estevez. Welcome back, folks.
Well, we've been talking a lot about Ferguson. I really don't, I really hate talking about Ferguson, but it has morphed into this national problem. At the hands of the regime, I will hold steadfast that this White House and this Department of Justice has perpetuated this in every conceivable way imaginable. And because it has morphed like it has, you find all these other stories that are attached to it. Before, unfortunately, guys, tonight we cannot accept any calls because of the technical problems that we are having. I do apologize for that, but our end calls are not working at the moment. So I'm sorry, caller. Before I say anything else, though, I got to get a shout out to my golden boy and all my Princeton folks. Thank you, fellas. Love you guys. Yes.
Yeah, we do. Come on. I got to tease them.
We do love them. They're awesome. They're amazing. They're just fine young folks that are carrying on for us. And they are a far cry from the garbage that sits in Missouri today and across this nation, in all honesty. But one of the ways that this story has morphed is via Julie Bosman. A lot of people don't know who Julie Bosman is, but she's the leftist New York Times hack who published Darren Wilson and his wife's address in the Pravda of the American. Apparently, new stuff has come to light. Now, she had a cohort in that, and I don't remember his name right off the top of my head, but they decided that it'd be a real good idea to release Darren Wilson's name. Now, personally, if it were I would sit back and wait for somebody to come, because once you initiate, in a lot of states, once you initiate a crime and a crime is committed and you are complicit, you can be charged as well. And even if that is your cohort in crime, you can be charged as well. So, and I think this clearly makes her a cohort in crime. If anything happens to either Officer Wilson or his wife.
Yeah, congratulations on getting married. I mean, in the midst of all this turmoil.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
As if getting married isn't stressful enough. Man, I can't believe it.
I wouldn't know about that.
Oh, okay. All right, moving right along.
Anyway, when they released their information, some fine folks decided to take it upon themselves to release the information on the reporters.
Yes.
And she was so barraged with telephone calls that she had to do what was it that she had to do, Jose? Who was it that she had to call and ask for assistance?
She's got to call the police in Chicago.
Oh, no way. Not the police. She wasn't in fear. Seriously?
Folks, she's getting deliveries of food that she never ordered. I'm sure the magazine subscriptions will come sooner or later, and I can just imagine what else is going to show up at her doorstep. But it's downright dangerous what they did, releasing Officer Wilson's home address. He has, and everybody knows it, credible threats of harm to his person, money being paid for harm to his person.
I wonder if she got,
death.
I wonder if she got the bounty from the Black Panthers.
I'm telling you,
because they were willing to pay $1,000 plus for anyone that released the information of his whereabouts. So I wonder if she got that bounty.
And I wonder if it was worth it. If she did.
I don't know if she's thinking it's worth it now. I know that some reports were that she had changed her number. However, when I called to tell her hello and wish her luck, it went to voicemail.
I'm sure it did. The one thing she can't change very easily is the address, and of course they released her address. The funny thing was, because of technology, people even pulled up her Zillow account that her house, it was, boy. And I'll tell you what, once again, these liberals, they talk about, the common good and all this, but she's living in like a $500,000 house. And it has pictures of the whole inside from when she bought, it's the realtor listing. It's on
got the full layout.
Website called Zillow, and it shows all the rooms. And oh my goodness. It's all available. So one thing that doesn't change very quickly is her address. And it's
or
all
the layout of her house.
So, as far as things getting delivered goes, that address would remain the same. I'm just saying, that's all I'm saying. But just,
Well, yeah, apparently she's gotten a lot of Chinese food, pizzas, steak deliveries. And these people were none too happy when they got there and found out that they were not getting paid.
Well, we're laughing about it, but you're right. And that's the people that heard of the small business owners that are, being, thinking that this is a reasonable order and stuff, and then they don't get paid. I'm sure she's not paying them, and they're getting stiffed on it. I
wonder how many do not deliver lists she went on.
Probably, yeah. She probably couldn't get a pizza order right now if she wanted to at this point. I don't think there would any legitimate place would even think that it was a legitimate call at this point for takeout. So, but I'm telling you, what in her right mind would make her think that would be okay to release his address? What kind of people are we dealing with?
I don't know, but
that's okay.
She took a lot of calls. Her and her cohort in crime took a lot of calls of encouragement, wanting them to stay safe and wishing them the best of luck and until they couldn't handle it anymore and they called the police to make it stop. Then the police said, hire a security force.
I would imagine they did. Because that thin blue line, that brotherhood, I'm sure that's pretty strong. It stretches all the way from Ferguson, Missouri to Chicago, Illinois. Despite all the fun we poke at Chicago, I'm sure that thin blue line still stretches all that way. And turnabout is fair play after all, folks.
Well, if you want to know some more interesting information about Julie Bosman, which I found particularly interesting, was her husband, Jeremy L. McCarter. That's MC, capital CARTER. He works for Eric Holder at the Department of Justice.
And folks, you can't make it up. You can't make it up. Wow. Isn't that something? The same Eric Holder that's still not convinced that justice has been done and probably was in on those meetings today with Reverend Al up there in the Hate Whitey hut with El Presidente himself. Ho Chi Minh. Wow. You just can't make it up.
He works for Eric Holder at the Department of Justice. Now, this is supposed to be, in all honesty, let's really look at this. This is a problem that I think people are missing. Mm-hmm. This is one law enforcement agency going after another law enforcement agency for what they know to be BS.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to tell me that this is not an intentional attempt to incite Charles Manson's Helter Skelter?
I firmly believe that from the second this started going down in Ferguson, I use that exact word, helter skelter, race war. I think they've been wanting it all the way since back then.
There have been situations in the last 20 years where an unarmed black teenager, an actual teenager, 14, 15 years old, was gunned down by a white police officer. That has happened.
Right.
Whether they, in the heat of the moment, they thought that the person was older, or they thought that, they were armed. They thought they perceived it as a danger, or maybe even an over-exuberant police officer, because that does happen.
Right.
And we're not going to sit here and say that it doesn't happen. I don't think I've ever seen a situation where race was the issue behind it. I think where the problem lies is that these officers are in communities that are high welfare, high entitled, low rent, high crime areas. And so what they encounter on a daily basis is such a threat and such a danger that absolutely anyone is a threat or a danger. And it's much the mindset that you see with prison guards. Do not turn your back on a prisoner. Not because they're all going to attack you, but because it happens so frequently, any of them could at any given moment. And yet, when it's occurred before, nothing has been said or done. Those local police departments have handled it accordingly, however they saw fit.
Right.
This was not allowed to occur here. This was pushed to be in front of the media from the very beginning. And like I said, it's morphed into so many other things. And look at all the things that it's hiding. And in case we don't get to all those things tonight, we will be getting to them tomorrow, because everybody's attention is focused on Ferguson, and we're not paying attention, folks.
Right. Yeah.
Today, because of Ferguson, the UN has announced police brutality in the United States violates anti-torture treaty.
Trying to remain relevant, AUN?
I mean, the Brown's parents, Leslie McSpadden and Michael Brown Sr., testified before the committee at the UN, saying we need the world to know what's going on in Ferguson. We need justice, said McSpadden, his mother. We need answers. We need action. We have to bring in the UN so they can expose it to the rest of the world, what's going on in the small town of Ferguson. Now, the United Nations report released accused the United States of being out of compliance on an international anti-torture treaty, citing incidences of police brutality, military interrogations, and prison conditions. Guys, we have some of the best prison conditions in the world. I mean, where else do you go to prison that you get 3 hots of cotton, cable TV, and a gym?
In a gym, work out. Oh, law libraries. Look at how many of them file appeals and all kinds of worthless things, taking up, the money, file all kinds of appeals and different things.
How many prisons in the world do you know that have trailers where they can have conjugal visits?
Right.
Seriously?
Yeah, ask Tamarisi if he got anything like that when he was down in Mexico in one of their prisons. I doubt it.
I about fell off my chair. Number one, I've got so many problems with this. We have 360 plus million people in this country. How many of these issues are of police brutality, honestly? Military interrogations. You're usually dealing with enemy combatants, like those guys at Gitmo that the regime just keeps letting go.
Yeah.
Because they're not fighting against us.
Of course not.
Or the prison conditions. Oh my God. I would hate to be in prison today where I could have air conditioning and heat. I can wear my own clothes for the most part. I can have cable TV in my room. I can take art classes and all other kinds of college courses and everything else. I can go to the gym every day, several times during the day.
You're making it sound very appealing here.
And I get 3 hot, nutritious meals a day. And if I don't like something, I just cry cruel and unusual, and it all gets fixed for me.
Right. File an appeal. File a grievance. There you go.
Unfreaking real. But we've got it bad. Of course, this is the UN Committee Against Torture that is led by Iran. Because
the irony is thick there.
Because they don't have any torture there. And
Sure.
it's just such a calm and peaceful society.
You can't make this stuff up. You really can't. There's no possible way.
Well, among
Any
the
of this
chief
stuff.
report, the concerns were the excessive force used by police, not in Ferguson, Missouri, folks,
No.
but in Chicago.
Yeah. Wow. Isn't that something? Hey, V, before we're done, and I know you and I want to be done with Ferguson. We weren't going to give him near this much time. I mean, it's very relevant though, folks, especially, and it's concerning, especially the whole communist aspect and the continued agitation of something that should have never happened, started to begin with. But I just wanted to say too that, and I don't know if it's related to Ferguson. It does not say in the story yet, so I want to make you aware of that. However, in South St. Louis on Sunday night, or Sunday morning actually, around 1:15 a.m., a 32-year-old man who's a husband, a father, of 32 years old, Zamir Begic, I hope I'm saying that right, Begic, struck in the head, face, mouth, and abdomen. And folks, what do you think he was struck with? Assault hammers. And I'm not trying to make light of it, but hammers. 4 youth, well, I'm thinking they're youth. They said 2 were caught, immediately taken into juvenile custody, and the police are still searching for 2 others, a 16-year-old black male and a 15-year-old Hispanic male. What happened was he was in his car when several juveniles came up on foot and began to strike the car. He got out, and the 4 suspects began yelling at him and hitting him with hammers, folks. After the assault, the 4 ran away. And
Oh, my gosh.
somebody tweeted out, people are following police orders to stay on the sidewalk while they investigate it. A pretty busy street. This happened on a pretty busy street. And one Bosnian says, and this gentleman was of Bosnian descent, one Bosnian says they won't damage the neighborhood they built. God bless those people. That is a that is a direct dogging of the people right down the road in Ferguson there. That they weren't going to start rioting over this. But my God, can you imagine being attacked by 4 people with hammers? Married for 6 months.
No, I
folks.
can't.
32 years old, married for 6 months.
Nope, I can't because I carry 19 and 1.
Isn't this... And here it says right here, here's another tweet. Bosnians are protesting in Bevo. This is the section of South St. Louis that this happened. One woman tells me they fled genocide and now are being killed in St. Louis. Can you imagine how sad that is? And with hammers, folks. So when are we going to have a call for a ban on hammers? I mean, really,
Well,
it's always about guns,
I say we start that movement by all
Hammers.
means.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine being attacked by people with hammers and what he must have went through.
This society is so politically correct.
Mhm.
I don't know how long it will be before we are required by law to pad all the walls in our home, to use only paper plates, plastic forks, sporks, and plastic butter knives. And, if you exit your home, you must do so with bubble wrap.
Right. V, I've often said that political correctness is the cyanide pill that's going to take this country out. It's amazing, and it's scary how far it's getting taken and how far it's come in my lifetime that I've noticed it. And but like I said, we don't know if it's related to the protests in Ferguson. I'm going to kind of assume that it has something to do with it. We've got, well, I don't know if they've caught them yet, but as of that report, there was a black male and a Hispanic male, and the rumors were the two that were in custody were two black males. So and the gentleman, the Bosnian, he's white skinned. So I'm not sure that that's what this was all about, or if it was just a crime of opportunity for some reason, which it doesn't sound like to me. Anything was taken, but he was just brutally beaten and killed with hammers. But once again, I mean, what the heck is going on in this country?
Well, I mean,
that's
the brutality, then that's the barbarianism of where we have gone in the moral decline of this country and our value of life. There is no value of life anymore.
You're right. It's just like in the third world countries where there is no value to life. But look at it. You've got an agitator in the top position of power in the country. The person in charge of the Department of Justice didn't he bomb one time in college and protested and bombed something? I mean, come on. Look at it's coming right from the top, folks. You've got Al Sharpton at the Hate Whitey Hut today. What do you think that's all about? How we can calm everything down and get everybody to sit around and hug each other and sing Kumbaya? They don't want it, folks.
What?
They
Al Sharpton was just crying yesterday. This ain't over. This ain't over. Keep it going.
Right. Yeah, it's scary. But you know what? Lay the pieces out of the puzzle, like I said earlier. Lay the pieces of the puzzle out, and it starts to make sense, and you can see what that bigger picture is, and how all these pieces interlock and fit together. And believe me, they do. None of this is random, folks. Nothing is random. And I'm not wearing my tinfoil hat. I don't have to. It's all there in front of us. And someday, when we look back on it, we'll see it. If not sooner, it's all right in front of us. And it's being facilitated from the highest levels of your federal government. Using your money, too.
Well,
isn't that wonderful?
Exactly. And being condoned by every federal law enforcement agency in this country. Guys, we've got to take a break. We'll be back in just a few moments. I want to remind you guys that this is CPR Worldwide Media.com. That's our network, and they carry some fantastic shows besides ours. Please check out Right Side Patriots on Wednesday and Saturday mornings. And just to remind you guys, Jose and I will be guests tomorrow night after our show with Charles Kaprowitz at State Legislators of the Round Table. So you guys just stick around for that tomorrow night beyond our show. We'll be back in a few moments.
Yes,
this is a station identification moment. You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Why do cities shine so bright? It's the glow of opportunities, of ideas bouncing off one another, of countless people, every one of us, striving to succeed. Right now, in cities everywhere, ideas are being born. New thinking that will put us in awe of what people are capable of. That's what lights cities up. And helping people and their ideas to burn even brighter. So that communities, businesses, and you and I can grow. What if a bank made that its job? For more than 200 years, Citi's job has been to help empower people and business. Now, around the world, it's wherever people gather, wherever ideas come alive. It's wherever you are. The world's city.
The Ford Escape is clearly intended to grab your eye. Oh, and your foot. Huh, ain't that a kick? The Ford Escape with the foot-activated liftgate. Go open up something interesting. Go further.
Come on, Harry! Dumb and Dumber 2 is the #1 movie in America.
Am I right? What?
Seriously, it's #1.
These guys are morons! I like her a lot.
Dumb and Dumber 2, rated PG-13. Now playing.
However dark the night, however dim our hopes, the light is always there within you.
His family gave him hope.
You fight harder than those other guys, and you win.
His spirit gave him strength.
We're gonna die out here.
We're not dying!
And in his darkest hour,
Who is the Olympic athlete?
his faith would not be broken.
Hello, Mother and Father. This will be the first time in 2 years that you'll have heard my voice. I wish you all a Merry Christmas. Your loving son, Louis.
On Christmas Day, experience the unbelievable true story of one man's journey home.
You can take it. You can make it. Just gotta believe you can.
If I can take it, I can make it.
Unbroken, rated PG-13, Christmas Day.
Read something recently worth thinking about. It's the soldier, not the campus organizer, who's given us freedom to demonstrate. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who's given us freedom of the press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who's given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier who serves under the flag, who defends the protesters' right to burn the flag. Isn't it time now to demonstrate that we support our troops? Were it not for the brave, there'd be no land of the free.
Fred Thompson's message was brought to you by citizensunited.org.
We are living in times where there is an assault on sanity. Political correctness has run amok and logic has been left by the wayside. Do you constantly ask yourself, WTF is going on in this nation? Do you sometimes feel like a stranger in your own country? Well, fear not. You are not alone. This is the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Show, coming to you from deep inside flyover country with your hosts, V. Wright and Jose Estevez.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to WTF. I'm your host, V. Wright.
And I'm Jose. We're back.
Yay!
We don't let any stinking technical difficulties get us down, do we, V?
Oh, no, and if they do, it only, give us 5 minutes, and we will pan it out one way or the other. Of course, our phone lines are down tonight. Unfortunately, there is nothing that we can do about that. However, they'll be back up probably about the time we get out of air, is what I've been told. So,
of course. So tomorrow night.
So tomorrow night we will be live. Again, I want to remind you guys that we're here Monday through Thursday from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern. Tomorrow night, in addition to doing our show from 7 to 9 p.m., we will be joining Charles Kaprowitz with state legislators of the Round Table from 9 to 11 p.m. Actually, I think it's 9 to 10 is when we will be guesting with them.
Well, I got to pull a double shift tomorrow night?
Yes, you do. Aren't you going to hate life?
Overtime! And I'm going to tell you what, folks, though, but seriously, Charles Kaprowitz has more brain power in one of his fingernails than I have in my whole body, and that's he's just a brilliant man. Amazing. I can barely keep up with him, but he is an amazingly brilliant man. He's able to communicate as well with us normal humans and make us understand what he's saying, but just a great guy all around. So stick with us tomorrow night after that. And he's got a great show, and he's got some really good ideas to help change this country, and not the fundamental transformation we've been experiencing, but get us back on track, and some doable ways too, not things that are just pie in the sky, dreamy type things. He's got some, and he's pounding the pavement, so to speak, and working. He's trying to make this happen. So make sure you join us after the show tomorrow night, and then tune in for his show when he's on, because an amazingly brilliant man and just a great guy. We're glad we have him on the network here.
He is just a wonderful individual. He is just a pleasure, a true gentleman, gentleman in every facet of his life, and I just think the world of him. But I know if he knew anything about this next issue, he would be flipping his lid.
Yes,
and he probably does, I would imagine. I would not want to be in the Kaprowitz household tonight. Right. You know, that guy at the Department of Justice, he was made infamous by his activities in Fast and Furious. And his complete disregard of the law, even though even though he is head of one of the largest law enforcement, highest ranking for law enforcement communities in the country. Well, he's got an ace up his sleeve. And guys, wait just a moment. We have breaking news. I have information here that the students at SLU, the St. Louis University, are now protesting and marching the streets of St. Louis, and have been for the last few hours, in favor of Mike Brown. Just what we needed, more college kids being ignorant and going out and hitting the streets for a thug. They wanted justice. Justice has been served. It was served through the grand jury. You know, parents, if these are your kids out there, go snatch them up by their pants and march them back to campus, or put them in your car and take them home, because obviously the education that they're getting is worthless.
It just boggles the mind how they get them all cranked up. And colleges, and it's not just there, it's been colleges all over the United States. Last week before the break, we're having protests, and most of them were peaceful, I might add, but nonetheless protests, and all in favor of Mike Brown, and that the grand jury was totally bought and paid for and done in, even though there were 3 or 4 black people on it, and it was supposed to be a pretty good, reasonable breakdown of that area, of the surrounding area. Made up of,
I don't care how peaceful it is. You're a college student, and if you aren't educated enough to see that a thug is out there acting like a thug, and he got shot for acting like a thug, then you probably don't need that college education. I doubt very seriously it's going to do you a doggone bit of good. Go home.
But V, you're operating on a wrong premise. College degree, or 2 or 3 are even better, then that means you're even smarter. That's the way the United States is nowadays. And I will posit, and of course this is not a blanket statement, it's a generality, but I know it's not completely true. But I find in my line of work and in my life, so this is just my personal experiences, this is my personal opinion, the more degrees someone has, the less they know about anything in the real world. Now that they listen to their NPR, of course, they get their information from NPR, and of course that must be correct. And of course, if you work at a college or you teach at a college, of course, you're akin to a god in American society now. And you can say whatever you want. I mean, look at the kind of people that are teaching in colleges. You got Bill Ayers, really, the Weather Underground guy that helped mentor Barack Obama, who blew stuff up in the United States as a form of protest.
The Pentagon.
Come on, people.
Pentagon.
But once again, you're in a society that values these degrees, and a degree to me doesn't mean anything. We had my dad on the show, so I'm going to brag him up a little bit, folks. 8th grade education, and I've seen him build complete houses that he has designed with a pencil and a 2x4. No plans, no big and I'm talking we've lived in nice houses. I'm not talking mansions, but nice, well-constructed, well-built houses. And he can do it in his head using calculations and a pencil, and never used a computer. Knows what the internet is a little bit, but has never had the internet, never uses it, doesn't have a smartphone, doesn't have a cell phone at all. So who is smarter to you than someone that has 2 or 3 degrees and can't change the oil in their car, but they can sit all day and talk about theories? Well, I'll tell you who I'd rather hang out with any day of the year.
You're talking about changing the oil in the car. I've seen some of these idiots who couldn't change a light bulb.
I know, no common sense whatsoever, but they're praised and they're honored because they have all these degrees.
Let us not forget some of the richest men in this country were not college graduates. Right. I mean, Bill Gates never finished college.
No, indeed, none of the people like that started, that had that hunger,
entrepreneurial
had that entrepreneurial spirit. Yeah,
exactly.
They got out and they did. They didn't talk about it. They didn't talk about theories. They didn't theorize about it. They got out and they did something. And they made something. And they employed people.
They put it to practical application.
They made profit. But yet you've got these colleges all over the United States, and they're turning these kids out, and it's all intentional. Don't tell me it's not. It's all intentional. I mean, you're not going to find it written down anywhere. But come on, the wink, wink, nod, nod. It's all intentional, starting out with your public school students. And, of course, Common Core doubles down on it even more. It's all about changing everything because they know that once these kids, once you get to that first generation that doesn't really know the truth, you've gotten to what you want. You've gotten everything you need.
Exactly. They'll buy it.
End game, set, and match. Right there, it's over. And
that's correct. Well, our kids at Princeton University said that they were protesting there this past weekend as well, that the students are split. Thank God we have you guys with some brains.
Amen.
Some practical, real, living, operating brain power. We're not worried about Princeton. Y'all just walk over there and tell them how stupid they are, smack them upside of the head, hand them a V8, and give them a night stay at a Holiday Inn. They'll be all right.
But tell them to put their hands up and pull their pants up or something like that.
Yeah. Well, they should have known that he didn't have his hands up because his pants weren't down.
Yes, that's very true. How far can they? Well, I mean, you even see pictures of the protesters. One hand is something in one arm or one hand, and the other hand's holding their pants up. I mean, really.
Hands up! I can't, man. I didn't wear a belt today.
Can't. My pants will fall down to my ankle.
I saw somebody that was wanting to start a GoFundMe account for belts for Ferguson.
Oh, that's rich right there. I'd send a little money to that.
I thought but they wouldn't use them. Anyway, I'm going to get back to our story. Holer says the international law trumps the Constitution. Now, the case in question is Bond versus the United States. And it is really a silly, silly thing. The defendant is charged with using a toxic substance to harass a friend who was having an affair with her husband. First of all, if I was married and you were having an affair with my husband, a toxic substance would be the least of your problems.
Right.
I'm just saying. Now, under the law, this case would normally be handled at the state level, but federal prosecutors instead decided to step in and charge Bond with violating the Chemical Weapons Convention. Now, this would be like taking a perpetrator of a domestic hate crime and instead charging him or her with genocide.
That's how ridiculous it is, right?
Well, the case is basically a complex liberal experiment to see how far they can push the boundaries regarding the enforcement of international law and the administration's how it turns out for the administration can really do damage to our nation. If the Supreme Court rules in the regime's favor, then that leaves the door open for them to rule in the favor of the UN Arms Treaty that John Kerry just signed. And yes, folks, he did sign it. If the courts rule that international law is the law of the land, and if the executive branch is willing to allow this to be implemented, the only thing that can stop them is Congress in the scheme of government. Bond v. United States represents a grave risk to the sovereignty of this country. It can allow for the door to be open to override our constitutional freedoms. So this is something that I am going to be paying close attention to.
Sure, you better believe it.
Well, you've got to remember that the Senate refused to ratify the UN's arms treaty, and Obama backdoored them like he backdoors them on everything else and sent John Kerry to sign it anyway. But the ramifications for this are vast. I mean, it's not just the potential for guns, but we've already seen where they're sticking their nose into our anti-torture. They're going to come in. You know, it blows my mind that they have countries in such disastrous situations as those in South Africa. And they're worried about the United States of America. And why the Canadians aren't screaming, why the UK is not screaming, why Germany is not screaming, why the French are not. You guys better remember, we're your biggest ally, and we're the ones that have kept them off your back. If we're gone, so are you.
Right. Well, and don't think that this doesn't go into the upper levels of the regime, but in different branches, because I want to read something here real quick, V, from February 3, 2012. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, and last week we were praying for her, and not really joking around because she had a heart issue and had a stent put in, but we don't know who else would be appointed if something were to happen to her, or God forbid she would die or something like that, but if she would resign or something because of health reasons, we don't know who would be appointed. I mean, our worst case scenario, one of them would certainly be Eric Holder. But here's what Ruth Bader Ginsburg said to Egypt when asked about how they should form a constitution. And this is just a couple sentences, but you have to hear this, folks, because it's interesting. It got a little bit of news when she said it, but this is serious. Listen to this. You should certainly be aided by all the constitution writing that has gone on since the end of World War II. I would not look to the U.S. Constitution if I were drafting a constitution in the year 2012. This is a Supreme Court Justice of the United States, folks. She further says, I might look at the Constitution of South Africa. That was a deliberate attempt to have a fundamental instrument of government that embraced basic human rights, had an independent judiciary. It really is, I think, a great piece of work that was done. Much more recent than the U.S. Constitution, Canada has a Charter of Rights and Freedoms. It dates from 1982. You would almost certainly look at the European Convention on Human Rights. Yes, why not take advantage of that where there is elsewhere? Yes, why not take advantage of what there is elsewhere in the world? Once again, Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg in 2012 in an interview with Al Hayat TV in Egypt. Outright slamming the U.S. Constitution, saying that socialist Europe has a better constitution. Let's not forget South Africa. Wow.
Unreal, isn't it?
So don't say that this can't happen, and that this thought process also is not throughout the various branches of government. That is scary to me. It really is. It's concerning. It angers me too. Heaven forbid we would use the U.S. Constitution. written by those racist old white men. It's all part of that fundamental transformation.
Well, there are just such implications with this. I mean,
Yes,
just the controls that would be banned. It would, if the UN were to become the supreme law of the land, you have to remember that in the last 30 years, they have given every single solitary committee, group, or governing authority to Muslims.
Mm-hmm.
They have handed it over, hand over fist. So are you going to tell me that Iran and Turkey and Yemen, just to name a few, I mean, we're not even going into Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria. We'll just go with those three, are now governing bodies of the United States of America. That is the potential, people.
That is exactly right.
What better way to implement Islamic culture in this country except to make the UN our governing body, shred our Constitution? It no longer exists because it holds no power, and we are run by Islamics.
Yeah, I wonder how well that would work out for us. Women and homosexuals, I wonder how that would work out. Wonder how well that would work out.
Well, women are screwed. Homosexuals are screwed. Feminazis are screwed. All you women out there thinking that you're going to run around and be promiscuous. All you guys that think you like to walk around watching a woman drop it like it's hot. Well, it'd be hot all right. Talk about population control.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
It would be the end of scientific research in this country, because we all know that the globe is flat. I say that, and people don't get it.
The globe is flat, yeah.
The globe is flat. And we all know that women can't drive because it messes up their pelvis and creates a scenario that delivers abnormal babies. Anyway, I would love to go on with this.
Right.
Senor, you see, we're running late. You want to carry us out tonight?
Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for being with us. We appreciate you folks. We're going to have a lot more information tomorrow. I promise we're going to try to dial it back on Ferguson. If we can, I hope they will facilitate that for us and just start. Maybe it'll get really cold down there and they'll all go inside, or maybe they'll all get jobs. That's the other thing we can hope for. And they'll be otherwise preoccupied, with making things and providing services for people instead of just running through the streets destroying what other people are building up. But we love you folks. We're glad you're with us. I don't know what else to say. I mean, we're blessed to be able to do this, and thank you for being with us every night. We will be able to take calls again tomorrow night, and we'll look forward to talking with you if you have anything on your mind. And we're looking forward to another great week. We're trying to line some people up again, so you don't just have to listen to V and I talk. And all I got to say is God bless America. Thanks for being with us. And
you guys stick around for the DJs.
Tomorrow. Yes.
You guys stick around and listen to our DJs tonight.
Music.
This is a station identification moment.
Good night, folks.
You're listening to CPR Worldwide Media, a division of CPR Media Network, coming to you live right across the planet. Check out our website at www.cprworldwidemedia.com and our Facebook page at facebook.com/CPR Worldwide Media. This is CPR Media Network, coming to you live from the USA.
Well, looky here, a new listener. Hey, this ain't your little sister's radio station.
Protest line, freedom scribbled on your sign. Headline, New York Times, standing on the edge of a revolution. Hey, hey, just obey your secret safe with the NSA. In God we trust, or the CIA, standing on the edge of a revolution. Yeah, we're standing on the edge of a revolution. Revolution. Wall Street, common thief. When they get caught, they all go free. A brand new yacht and a finder's fee, standing on the edge of a revolution. Same shit, different day. Can't keep fed if I can't get paid. We'll all be dead if the shit don't change. Standing on the edge of a revolution. Yeah, we're standing on the edge of a revolution. And how we gonna get there? Revolution. What do we want? We want change. Standing on the edge of a revolution. What do we want? We want change. And how we gonna get there? Revolution. What do we want? We want change. Standing on the edge of a revolution. No, we won't give up. We won't go away. 'Cause we're not about to live in this mass delusion. No, we don't wanna hear another word you say. We know they're all depending on mass confusion. No, we can't turn back, we can't turn away. 'Cause it's time we are relying on the last solution. No, we won't lay down and accept this fate. 'Cause we're standing on the edge of a revolution. What do we want? We want change. And how we gonna get there? Revolution. What do we want? We want change. Standing on the edge of a revolution. What do we want? We want change. And how we gonna get there? Revolution. What do we want? We want change. Standing on the edge of a revolution.
We are living in times where there is an assault on sanity. Political correctness has run amok and logic has been left by the wayside. Do you constantly ask yourself, WTF is going on in this nation? Do you sometimes feel like a stranger in your own country? Well, fear not. You are not alone. This is the Whiskey Tango Foxtrot Show, coming to you from deep inside flyover country with your hosts, V. Wright and Jose Estevez.